Hey, so recently I had a Twitter thread in which I assigned a Keyblade to every member of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate cast in celebration of Sora's recent addition to the game, which I think I was pretty, even keel about, pretty muted reaction there.
Oh my god, it's finally here!
As you can see, this thing did numbers, the most popular tweet I've ever had, and I actually had a comment from a at SRM13, so I need an hour-long explanation video I can eat a dinner to. So I figured, yeah, enjoy your meal, SRM13. Let's go through this little thread that I made here. I want to justify all of my choices, because I'm getting a little bit of pushback. Most people are pretty good with everything I assigned here, but a little bit of, a couple of question marks here and there, so I want to work those out. I came up with the bulk of them, but I got some help from a couple of my friends, David, Keynote, Sam, David Daybreak, Panda, PJ. I'll try to give credit where credit is due when I remember which ones were which. So, to begin, we have Mario with Bad Guy Breaker from Union Cross. I feel like since Fix-It Felix is like the XB of Mario and Ralph is like the XB of Donkey Kong, I felt like that made sense. There's Winner's Proof, which is like a mushroom-based Keyblade, which was kind of the obvious one, but then I used that for something else. Donkey Kong gets Jungle King, kind of self-explanatory. They're both related to the jungle, so that made sense to me. Link with the Dream Sword, I've gotten a million replies about, like, it's not actually a Keyblade, you just gave him another sword, what's wrong with you, are you an idiot? That's my impression of Twitter replies. It looks like the Master Sword, so I just gave him the Dream Sword. It's Keyblade adjacent. If I said giving every Smash Bros. Character a weapon from Kingdom Hearts, it's not as catchy, so I just, it doesn't help that it's the very first group of 4 there, but, I originally had him with Hero's Crest from Cage 2, and somebody in that group of friends changed my mind, so it's actually their fault, but I don't remember who it was, conveniently, so whatever. Some of these I tried to go with the theme, and with others it was more so that they were aesthetically similar. That's the case with Samus. I don't even know what this one's called, I have to look it up right now. Total Eclipse from Days. I don't know when or why you get it, but it's orange, so that's why Samus got it. Moving on. We got Dark Samus with Dual Disc, probably the most aesthetically similar Keyblade I could find. It really just looks like Dark Samus could naturally be wielding that and you wouldn't really blink an eye, so I like that one a lot. Yoshi's was tough. That is Sweet Dreams from Dream Drop Distance. I figured, like, Yoshi's like a pet. Dream Eaters are pets. Yoshi's kind of like a Dream Eater in a way, and he eats, and there's like there's a lot of food-themed Keyblades, by the way, at least like 3 or 4 of them. And I had to like divvy those out, but I gave that one to Yoshi. Kirby gets the Grand Chef from KH3 because in Smash Bros. Brawl, the first game with Final Smashes, he actually became a Chef Kirby, and that was his final smash. And he also generally is a enjoyer of the culinary arts, so I figured that made sense. Fox gets Ava's Keyblade because they are both foxes. Yeah, there's a couple of dumb ones like that. Pikachu gets Kingdom Key D because he's a little rat. Michael Mouse is a little rat. So I figured they should both wield the same Keyblade. There's also like a lot of like electric yellow Keyblades, and I had to kind of divvy those out as well for other electric themed fighters. Luigi gets Phantom Green because he is green, and also Phantoms because of like Luigi's Mansion, so I figured that was a pretty easy tie-in there. And Ness, I originally had something different, but I think Sam was like, you should give him Happy Gear because that turns into a yo-yo Keyblade transformation, and Ness famously wields a yo-yo for, I think, his like up smash, maybe his like down tilt or something, or his like down smash. Captain Falcon, I really like, he has a Victory line, which is from BBS. It's kind of like the Rumble Racing. It's got like the racing flags on the side, and the color scheme actually kind of fits him too, so I like that one. Jigglypuff, we were like trying to find like who is the most musically oriented fighter, and Jigglypuff does have like the sing move, so I figured a Counterpoint from Dream Drop was a good fit for Jigglypuff. Peach was a tricky one. Originally, it was Lady Luck, and then I was thinking like maybe Rumbling Rose or something like that, but then I switched to Divine Rose because I was gonna give Destiny's Embrace to Daisy because I felt like that was kind of like aesthetically similar. I wanted to give Destiny's Embrace to somebody else on the Council of Keynote, and so I gave Daisy the umbrella, or the parasol from Days, because she does, Peach is holding it in her render there, but Daisy also uses the parasol. I got like accused of like being like this Daisy hater in one of the comments. It was like as if it was like a personal slight against the character, like I have beef with this fictional arrangement of pixels. It was just for a funny. I'm sorry. Bowser got Frolic Flame from BBS. There's a bunch of Fire Keyblades as well, and I figured that one's the most Bowser-esque with like the little angry looking face in the middle there. I felt like that was kind of a shoe-in for him. Ice Climbers is pretty easy. There's only like 2 like strictly ice-themed Keyblades, and one is Diamond Dust and the other is Crystal Snow. I just gave him Diamond Dust. Theoretically, you could have Popo with Diamond Dust and Nana with Crystal Snow. They could both have one because they both got a hammer, so it makes sense. Sheik, I think David Russell suggested, what is that one called? Stroke of Midnight from BBS. Because of like Ocarina of Time and the time travel thing and like Stroke of Midnight with the clock, and the color scheme also works pretty well. Zelda got Royal Radiance from BBS, just sort of like a, you know, monarch sort of majesty princessy thing. I felt like that was kind of fitting. Dr. Mario got Winner's Proof from KH2 Final Mix. Basically, I was going to be Mario's, and I was like, well, I should give the mushroom-themed Heartless to a Mario, so I gave it to him. And also, I think someone commented that, like, the Mushroom Heartless kind of resembled the viruses from the original Dr. Mario game, so it was unintentional, but that's another bonus there. Pichu gets Gula's Keyblade, which is nameless as of yet, but it looks like a bunch of electrical shocks, and I already gave Pikachu the Kingdom Key D, so that was the choice there. Falco gets Gullwing. I mean, the way his wing is in that render, it, like, is held up similarly to how the Gullwing is fixtured there, so I thought that made sense. This one I really like. Marth has Master's Defender, which is Ericus's Keyblade from BBS and later in 3. And because Lucina is a descendant of Marth, as Aqua is kind of like, you know, almost like an adoptive daughter for Ericus, I gave Lucina Aqua's Keyblade, which is Rainfell. The Fire Emblem characters were kind of tough because I've never played a Fire Emblem game, and I just kind of had to either go by aesthetics or like the very few things that I knew about the characters. Young Link gets the wooden Keyblade, Ven/Terra's Keyblade from BBS. You could also give him like a Fairy Harp or something that was like the backup because of like, you know, Navi and everything. I gave Ganondorf Darkgnaw just purely based on the physical similarities there. Mewtwo, what the fuck is that one? That is Unbound from Dream Drop Distance. Probably one of the weaker ones. Just kind of, I feel like it sort of fits, like it's a purpley sort of thing. I don't know. Roy got Bond of Flame because he has the fire, as does Axel. They both got the red hair, so I feel like that makes sense. Chrom, I don't know anything about Chrom. I feel like he's probably pretty brave. So I gave him Sleeping Lion, or is that Lionheart? Again, those two are like the same exact thing. That is Lionheart. I don't know. Mr. Game & Watch gets Monochrome because he's the oldest character in the franchise in Super Smash Bros. And, you know, like Black and White, he was a monochrome handheld on the Game & Watch, so that makes sense. Meta Knight, what the hell is that one again? That was Keynote's idea. I don't remember what that one's called. End of Pain is that one, and it has like the wing on it, so it's also kind of menacing looking, which Meta Knight kind of is, at least for the Kirby standards. Pits I really like. The thematic and visual relevance there is pretty good with Olympia from KH1. Dark Pit gets Way to the Dawn. Makes sense again with the wing, and it's even a dark wing, so it's super fitting for him. Zero Suit Samus, my main until Sora comes out in a couple of days, of course. Photon Debugger, just kind of a visually similar. It also has like Thunder Boost, and Zero Suit uses like Paralyzer attacks, so that kind of makes sense there. Wario's is Moogle O'Glory from Union Cross. I wanted to give him something else, and I transferred it to another character, but Moogles are always associated with like money, and Wario loves money, so, you know. Snake gets Envy's Keyblade because Envy is the Snake Union leader. Ike gets All for One from Dream Drop. The color scheme kind of fits for him, but he also famously fights for his friends, as do the Musketeers, so that was kind of a layup there. That was Keynote's idea, I think. Squirtle gets Crab Claw, just like an ocean-themed. There's a couple of water-themed Keyblades, and that felt like the most fitting one for him. Ivysaur's is Pixie Petal. Again, there's also like a lot of plant-based ones, and that seemed to be most. It even has like the bulbs on top, which Ivysaur has. Charizard, that is, what is that? Axel's KH3. That's some Bond of the Blaze or Flame Liberator, depending on who you talk to. I'm always unclear on what the official name is there. Diddy Kong got Circle of Life, just kind of another jungle-y themed keychain. I originally had that for Incineroar, but he's a tiger and not a lion, and that ruined it, so I moved that over to Diddy Kong. Lucas got a Wishing Star, just because of like the whole PK Starstorm thing. Sonic gets Midnight Blue, because they are both blue. That's all I got. DDD got Sweet Stack from Birth by Sleep. That's the Ice Cream Beat minigame. DDD loves food. I wanted to give him a Keyblade from DDD, but there's no food-related ones in that game, so I was stuck with that one. But I think still a pretty good fit. Olimar was a shoe-in for Hyperdrive from BBS, because they're you know, both space-themed sort of things, so that works there. Lucario's is called Leviathan. That's from Days, upon recommendation of Keynote. Color scheme is on point, and that's about it. Rob gets 01. I really like that one. That's the only original Keyblade from Recoded, because Rob's a robot, and 01 is binary, so works out there. Toon Link got Ocean's Rage because of the Wind Waker of it all. I originally had Wheel of Fate for him, but I feel like that one's more befitting of the Wind Waker aesthetic, a little more cartoony from the Pinocchio world in Dream Drop Distance. Wolf's is Void Gear, just because they're both kind of edgy. That's about it there. I really like Villagers. He gets Sweet Memories from Cage 2 because of in Animal Crossing you can shake trees to make beehives come out, and that's kind of seems like the most. It wouldn't be so out of place if you were walking around with that in an Animal Crossing village, so I like that one. Mega Man gets Nano Gear. I was like, should I give Midnight Blue to him or Sonic? And I figured give that to Sonic, and then Mega Man can have like the robot themed one. That makes more sense. Wii Fit Trainer got Elemental Encoder. That's the Epic Games exclusive Keyblade if you get Cage 3 on PC. Just because she's like kind of a gray-skinned character, and Elemental Encoder has no color in it. Rosalina and Luma got Shooting Star from Cage 3. There's like 90 fucking star Keyblades in this series, and it was really anyone's pick as to what went where. Rosalina, I feel like that one is color scheme and just it's very elegant and flowing looking, which I think is befitting of her. Little Mac, I really like. This one's a layup. Knockout Punch from Dream Drop Distance. That's kind of self-explanatory. Greninja got, what is that? Bright Crest from BBS. That's an Aqua exclusive one, just kind of for the water motif there. Palutena, I was between, like, Fairy Harp, what was the other one? Fairy Stars or Ever After I settled on. I think Keynote said that, because, like, it's a staff, and Palutena wields a staff, and the Ever After transforms into a staff for the Keyblade transformations and that kind of work. Pac-Man got Classic Tone from Cage 3 because he's a classic arcade character, and you get the that Keyblade through playing all those Classic Kingdom games. Robin got Spellbinder. Again, don't really know anything about Robin, but he uses a book. There's a book on the end of Spellbinder. It's kind of like the nerdy MP magic Keyblade, and he uses a lot of magic, so that works out. I really like this this one. People are a big fan of. Shulk got No Name because of the all-seeing eye at the top there, and Shulk can famously see visions of the future in Xenoblade, at least so I'm told. I haven't played it, but I do know that from Smash. I think Sam recommended a favorite deputy for Bowser Jr. It's kind of like the toy, like kid sort of centric Keyblade. I feel like it wouldn't be that out of place to see Bowser Jr. wielding that one. Duck Hunt Dog got the stick of Roxas. That's a stick fame from Days. Kind of a cheat, but I figured that'd be kind of a joke one. Ryu was like the last one we did. We gave him Mark of a Hero from BBS. He goes through like the tournament in Street Fighter, and you win a trophy at the end of that thing, at least I would assume. Never played Street Fighter 2, oops. But it's like a World Cup. He got the big bicep on the top of it, so that works out. I have no idea what Ken's is. I think, what is that, Twilight Blaze? One sec. Yes, that is Twilight Blaze, and they're both red. They ran out of like explicitly fire-based Keyblades, so I just gave that one to Ken, because I don't really know that much about Ken. Believe it or not, Cloud got Fenrir, because that is literally based on his Buster Sword. And you could also give it Metal Chocobo, is just kind of which one I thought. I feel like Fenrir is more evocative of Cloud's actual Buster Sword. I love the Corrin one because it's Hidden Dragon, and Corrin is like a hidden dragon. Like, they have these moves where they like turn into a dragon and shit. So yeah, it doesn't look at all like what that character would wield, but for the name pun, that's what I chose. Bayonetta got Skull Noise just purely for like the aesthetics there. I was also between like Pumpkinhead and I think Oblivion, but I gave Oblivion to somebody else. Inkling got Mysterious Abyss from Cage 2, kind of grasping at straws with that one, but squids are from the ocean. That's about it there. Ridley's is just like a dragon-ass looking Keyblade. That's Fatal Crest from Cage 2, so that was kind of a layup. Simon gets Oblivion. Oblivion has like the chain motif, and he is, as you can see, wielding the chain ball thing in his render, so that works there. Richter was like it was like second to last. He got the other Leon one. I already forgot which one I gave to Chrom, but Richter got the other one. I got a DM. That happens sometimes. Hopefully it's not explicit. They have been. Okay, so King K. Rool got Destiny's Embrace, which is Kairi's Keyblade, and you're probably like, what the fuck, why? There's like this joke of KH1 1.5 Kairi on the HD remix cover. She's doing the same exact pose that K. Rool is doing. Like, they have like the arm on the hip and then the finger going that way. And it's like, I don't know, it's so stupid. It was all Keynote. It was his idea. That's why Daisy didn't get that one. That's why Daisy got the umbrella. You can direct all of your complaints to @KeynoteVGM on Twitter. Thank you so much. And Isabel got Chaos Ripper because it's super befitting of her personality. You got the Doom thing with the whole like Animal Crossing New Horizons, and the Doom game came out in like the same day or week back in 2020. I think that was Sam's idea. So that's kind of a joke one, but I like that. What the fuck is Incineroars? Incineroars is Maverick Flare from Days. They are both fiery. We're getting into the DLC now. Piranha Plant got Rumbling Rose. Rumbling Rose is possibly my least favorite Keyblade of all time. It's just so gross. And a Piranha Plant's kind of gross, and they're both plant things, so there. Joker's was kind of another joke one, fittingly. It's Lady Luck, because I feel like with the whole Joker card motif, and I used the Chain of Memories card because of the whole calling card thing from Persona 5. Hero got Hero's origin because his name is Hero. Banjo-Kazooie got Honey Spout from KH3 because he's a bear, and bears like honey. We're really breezing through these now. I think this was Sam's idea. Terry got Terra's Keyblade just because of the name similarity. And I feel like that wouldn't be so out of place for Terry to be wielding that. They're both like big, strong, buff dudes, so that works. Byleth got the Awe Blade. I don't know anything about the Awe Blade or Byleth. I believe someone said that the Awe Blade like draws out the user's personality, and like Byleth has like a bunch of different weapon types, so it's kind of like I don't know. Okay, I love the Min Min one because the color scheme is so good. It's the 7-Eleven keychain from KH3. I think it's, what is it? Dawn Till Dusk. We got the green and orange motif there. I like that. And we got the last group here. Steve with Treasure Trove, kind of a layup with the whole minecart thing. Mining is half of the Minecraft, so Sephiroth, believe it or not, got One Winged Angel because that's what he drops when you kill him in KH1 Final Mix. And Mithra and Pyra, this was all Sam's idea. Cannot take any credit for this genius here, but they got 2 Become 1 because they're 2 characters in 1, and that's the Roxas and Sora Keyblade from KH2. And then I think David suggested Kazuya gets Young Xehanort's Keyblade because they have like the goatee demon sort of vibe going on. Yeah. All right, I feel like I've adequately explained all of my decisions here. That's not going to stop any of the replies that I get asking, why'd you do the Master Sword? Why'd you give Daisy the Parasol? Actually, I think you should, did you think about maybe... And a lot of people thought that these Keyblades were all fan-made, and then they were either pleasantly or unpleasantly surprised to find that they are actually all from actual Kingdom Hearts video games. You know, some are better, some are worse. What can I say? It was an interesting exercise, though. I had fun. I hope you had fun with it. But let me know if you really think I bungled one of these and there's a better fit. I will consider reading your comment and then doing nothing to rectify the situation. Okay? All right. Thanks so much. All right. Thanks for watching this sort of off-the-cuff impromptu video. I hope you found it at least a little bit interesting. I know it's not the typical scripted fare, but we'll be back with some of that. Don't you worry. That's the bread and butter, baby. All right? Take it easy, and I'll see you next time.